Hi folks, today we're going to talk about grilled cheese. So grilled cheese can be a lot of different things, and we've got this great book by Heidi Gibson and Pollack, and it's called Grilled Cheese Kitchen. And this has a selection of grilled cheese recipes that are out of the box, different, more than just, Wonder Bread and a couple slices of American cheese. So if you're ready to venture out and try something different, we're going to grill great today because our cheese isn't going to be grilled, but it's going to be griddled. And we'll be using the Ninja Smart Oven, and we're going to make a roast beef and blue cheese grilled cheese sandwich. So we're going to be using the GrillGrate Griddle. This griddle's for your air fryer, your smart oven. It's a griddle on this side, you flip it on the other side, and it's versatile because you can use it to defrost. The anodized aluminum, it just sucks the cold, frozen energy out of your frozen items, and you can thaw, a 1-inch steak in about 15-20 minutes. Flip it over, 10 minutes one side, 10 minutes on the other side. So it's a versatile piece of equipment. So grilled cheese sandwiches on the griddle in the smart oven. We're gonna go ahead and turn the oven on. I'm gonna change the function to air roast. Air roast, we're gonna use it because it's got a medium convection speed to make the onion marmalade that's gonna go on the sandwich. We're not really trying to get the onions super crispy. We just want them to stew a little bit, so air roast seems to be the right temperature for us. Our temperature is gonna be 350 degrees, which it looks like it's set for. And then we're ready to go ahead and start and preheat the oven. So for today's sandwich, we're gonna need a red onion marmalade. Our Ninja oven's preheating. That was the sound to let me know that it's preheated. Very fast preheat on this oven. I want to preheat my pan that I'll make the marmalade on. So we'll stick this into the oven. And I'm going to preheat that for about 3 minutes or so to get it warm so I can go through the process of cooking the onion. The recipe in the book calls for diced onion, which I dice these up. But as I'm thinking about the sandwich, I think that we want more of a stick cut rather than a dice cut. So I'm just going to cut these into 1/8 inch thick sticks, or just thin sticks. The rest of the ingredients are fairly simple. We've got a tablespoon of sugar, we've got some salt, balsamic vinegar, pepper, and then the last thing we're going to do is put a little bit of duck fat on the pan just to get the onions sweating. Alright, so our pan's been preheating. I'm going to pull it out, put some fat on it. I want to spray it with a little bit of duck fat. So after I put a little spritz of duck fat on there, I want to put it back in the oven for about a minute, 2 minutes, just to heat that up. While that heats, we're going to take our onions, and I'm going to sprinkle them with just a little bit of the sugar. I don't want to use all the sugar right now, but I want a little bit of sugar on there. And I also want to hit it with a little bit of salt too, so that they're going to release a lot of moisture as they're cooking. And I'm just going to kind of massage the onions a little bit to break them apart so we have nice pretty little sticks. Oh yeah, it's definitely more. Put those on the pan, I'm going to spread them out just a little bit. And we're going to let this go for about 6 minutes and see what it looks like. Let's turn the oven on. Alright, so our onions have been in the oven for about 6-8 minutes. We're taking the onions. Some of the onions that have been on the outside of this pile have started to brown, and you can see I definitely have some that are catching some color. I don't want to get too much color on here. I'm just trying to release the moisture and get them ready to add the rest of the ingredients. At this point though, I do want to go ahead and sprinkle my sugar on here, because as it starts to release, I want to get a little bit of a syrup working with this. I'm going to keep an eye on the sugar to make sure that it doesn't brown too quickly, but I'll just pour it right on top. And then we're going to put it back in the oven for about another 5 more minutes. So for today's sandwich, we have some sliced muenster cheese, we've got the blue cheese, we have some roast beef, and then we have some thin sliced sourdough bread. And then not grilled cheese unless you put a little bit of butter on the bread. Get that nice, beautiful brownie, get that little crust, brown, golden brown, delicious kind of crispy crust on there. And this is pretty simple. So, Muenster roast beef, blue cheese, sourdough butter. So, making the red onion marmalade is going to go on our roast beef and blue cheese sandwich. And my onions have been roasting, air roast, in the Ninja oven. And it's just about done. I'm going to take them, give them a little stir, and then I'm going to add the balsamic vinegar to make the marmalade. Oh yeah. And now we're going to let this cook for about 3 or 4 more minutes. But I'm going to turn the temperature down now because I don't want it to brown. It's already, as you can see, the balsamic vinegar is definitely brown. So I don't want to get any additional browning, but I definitely want to cook it a little bit lower, kind of work some of that moisture and turn it into a nice little marmalade. Alright, so we set the time for 10 minutes and we're going to set the temperature down to 250. And we hit start. Alright, so certainly for a marmalade, you could take this, you could cook this down even more if you wanted to. I like the texture. I like the fact that we've done these in sticks instead of dices. This is the GrillGrate take on this condiment for the sandwich, and I like where we're at with this. So we're ready to go ahead and start building some sandwiches. All right, so now that our red onion marmalade's completed, we've seasoned the griddle. We're gonna go ahead and change the settings on this oven. So I'm gonna stop that for a second. I'm gonna change it from function of air roast to bagel. We got the shade level turned up here to 7, time 10 minutes. So the reason we moved it to bagel is in the bagel setting, the lower elements get hotter than the upper elements. So the elements on the top will warm up so they'll be able to melt the items, but the bottom elements, they're gonna get really hot so we can toast the bread. Now we wanna make sure that the griddle preheats so that by the time we're ready to put our sandwiches in there, we're gonna get some nice browning on there. I would say, you know, so far in our, very unscientific experiments, we're getting this thing up to temperature in excess of 400 degrees in about 5 minutes, and it's gonna take me less than 5 minutes to build the sandwiches. But once the sandwiches are built, this should be preheated and ready for us to go. So let's go ahead and build the sandwiches. So I've got my bread, and remember I took the dots of butter and I put them on the sandwich, and now that the butter is all nice and soft and easy for me to spread, I'm gonna spread that butter down. Look at that. And it doesn't have to be perfect, but wherever you want browning, that's where you wanna make sure you have a little bit of butter, because that butter helps to promote the browning. So we really have to thank Heidi and Nate for the book and the inspiration for this one. And all we did is just kind of put a little bit of our GrillGrate twist on it, make it nice and easy. Having the Ninja oven there, or obviously any smart air bake oven that you're using. The griddle, fantastic. It's gonna make this so easy, and we're gonna get it all done in the oven. So I'm gonna put a slice and a half of Muenster cheese on each one of these. So I got a slice and a half. And of course, shy 2 slices of cheese. So I'm gonna have to do a magic cut, and I'm gonna come back with 2 more slices on cheese to finish this up. So I got my magic pieces of cheese, and now I'm gonna lay the roast beef on 2 of these slices. And when we make these in the oven, we're gonna make them kind of open face. And then we'll take them out, we'll put a little bit of that red onion marmalade on there, and we'll sprinkle just a tiny little bit of the blue cheese on top. I'm gonna put some blue cheese on so I can get a little melty, and then I'm gonna put some on to finish so that we have a little bit more, to have some texture with the cheese. So we got a combination of melted and non-melted and just warmed over. So I think that looks good with the roast beef. Roast beef looks good. Like I said, we're gonna crumble just a little bit of the blue cheese. I'm not gonna put too much initially, just kind of spread this out. So now I'm ready to load these up. All right, we've got the GrillGrate Griddle preheated. in the oven on bagel setting. I'm gonna give a quick temp check to see where I'm at. And I'm at 453.4, which is perfect, right where I wanna be. And so now I'm gonna load these guys into the oven on the griddle. So I'm gonna put one slice there, put one there, take this piece and slide this back in there, and I'll take my last piece. Now at this temperature, I'm thinking 5 minutes is gonna be plenty of time. So we got it set for it's a little over 5 minutes right now. Obviously, if you like the beep, to let you know what's going on, I'd probably set it somewhere around 4 minutes, because you want to give yourself an opportunity to let it go a little bit longer if it's not quite where you want it, but you don't want to take it past where you want it to be, because you can't untoast it, but you can always toast it a little bit more. All right, so we've been in the oven now for going on 3 minutes. And we brought the shade level down to 5 because at 7 we preheated it well and it got up there, but it might have been a little too high, so we massaged it down. It's one of those things that in your oven, you know, you have to, as a cook, you have to kind of be in tune with what's going on, how it's cooking, taking a look. And then once you've done it a couple times and you've nailed it, got it dialed in, you can do it every time easily. But now we've got a minute and 30 seconds left. I think these things are looking good. I'm just gonna give a quick peek underneath the bread. I'll see what it looks like. Oh, yeah, I think we're definitely ready. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull these pieces out, and I'll be ready to top them with a little bit more blue cheese and some of that gorgeous marmalade. All right, so as I said, I want to put just a little sprinkle of some unmelted blue cheese on there. I know it's gonna soften up a little bit, but I want to just have a little bit of different texture. That looks good. And then my red onion marmalade. We did this in the oven as well too. It's cooled down, so all that sugar now has gotten nice and sticky. And the red onion, the balsamic vinegar is gonna go so well with the blue cheese. I have to tell you that the authors of this book, I think they've nailed a winner. And then here at GrillGrate, we put our little spin and twist on it, make it easy for you to do in your oven. And that's it. I think we're ready to top them off. Oh, listen to that crunch. Look at that crunch. And I got a nice little piece here where there was a hole in the bread, and so the cheese melted through, browned on the griddle. That looks just gorgeous. And we'll go ahead and give them a little slice on a slight bias. And this looks ready to go. I am so ready to give this one a shot. Look, that's dripping with all those juices. Mmm. Melty muenster, get a little piece of that blue cheese, sweetness with the onions. This is gorgeous. You've got to try this one. So thanks again to Heidi Gibson and Nate Pollack. Fantastic sandwich. I'm really loving this. Make yours, enjoy, let us know how it works.